nervous because I'm here now.
Hey guys, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin. And as you guys know, the trade deadline is coming up, and we are here to talk more about it. But before we do, because we know the Ravens aren't done, Eric DaCosta said it. We want you guys to take a second, go ahead and subscribe. Make sure to leave your comments, but make sure to turn on the notification button so you know when our new episodes come out. And if you're interested in interacting with us, asking questions to us and our guests that we have on the show, regularly, go ahead and check out our Patreon in the link below in the description below. But I want to talk about, and Glenn and I both want to talk about what's going on in the trade market. The Ravens apparently were in the running for a tight end, Zach Ertz, until he got hurt. So we know the Ravens are out there. Eric DaCosta said they're not done. They kind of have their hands a little bit based on that report as to what position they're looking for. So we're going to assume they're going to keep looking for that position. And let's talk about some guys that are, I want to say this very clearly, guys, potential fits for the Ravens. We haven't heard anything. We have tons of inside sources based on our stature inside the NFL network, but we want to talk about potential fits. So Glenn, why don't you give us
Jimmy.
A guy you're? That's right.
Yeah. So basically what we're doing here is we're not going to come here and tell you that they're going to go trade and get Darren Waller back. They're not going to, go get Gronk. They're not going to go and get Kittle. Okay. So we're talking about realistic opportunities to improve this team at the tight end position. So the first thing you have to look at is contract situations. Obviously the Ravens don't have a ton of cap space right now. I think the Earl Thomas grievance is holding up some of their cap space. So right now, what I'm seeing is $3.78 million in cap space right now for the Ravens. So you can't just go out and look for anyone. And then the other thing you have to look for is you got to look for tight ends that are nearing the end of their contract. Typically, that's the type of players that clubs want to offload. They want to offload guys in their last year of their contract, get something, even if it is a late round pick. In compensation, unless they anticipate the guy is going to sign a huge deal. And then, of course, they could accrue a compensatory pick. But without further ado, I'm going to give you one name. I'm going to give you my first name. I'm going to give you my one name. I guess you'll give us yours. And it is Mo Alie-Cox, the tight end from the Indianapolis Colts. A guy that might not be quite as well known around the league because he does have some guys playing ahead of him. Jack Doyle being one of them, which was a favorite target for Andrew Luck when he was there. And who is they have one more tight end. I'm blanking on his name right now.
He used to play for the Bears. Burton.
Burton. Trey Burton
yeah.
just came back from injury, and they expect him to take up a lot of those snaps. So I look at Mo Alie-Cox. He has played in he's played in 5 games this season. He has 2 touchdowns. He has 11 catches for 194 yards. He's a big guy, man. He's 6'5", 270 pounds. He's just a monster of a guy and a guy that is just another red zone target. I think we talked about the lack of red zone targets here in Baltimore. There's not a ton out there right now. I'm not saying that, this is going to carry out throughout the season, but right now, if you go to Pro Football Focus and you sort by tight end and you sort by receiving and you look at their grades, the number 1 graded tight end receiving is Mo Alie-Cox right now in this entire league. Now, he hasn't played the amount of snaps that some of these other guys have. He's only played 167 offensive snaps compared to like the guy who's in second with Jonnu Smith from the Titans. He's played 306. So he's played more snaps, but still 167 snaps isn't like he's only in there as a part-time player. He's still in there. He's getting the job done. And he has an 89.9 receiving grade right now from PFF, which is almost four points higher than second place, which is Jonnu. So, I mean, Mo Alie-Cox is getting it done right now. He would fill a need that we have right now. And let's be honest, the Colts, while they're still in it, they have a lot of tight ends, and they don't look to feature this guy a ton. So I think he's a guy that could be on the trading block. He doesn't have a whole lot of contract left. So yeah, that's my guy. I mean, what's your thoughts on Mo Alie?
I like it. I like the likelihood of it. The only thing I would say is it's a team that we're going to be playing against. I don't know how much of a relationship we have with them, but I like the likelihood of it in that it's not Gronk, it's not Kelsey or something. And then, like you said, the economics of it match up. And when he's gotten on the field on limited basis, he's played well. I also think something that you mentioned Trey Burton, his emergence as of late has been due to his health. And so they've been wanting to invest more in him as far as opportunities to play. So that could make Cox more just, expendable. So yeah, I like it. I think it'd be great. He's a big guy. I think you mentioned he's what, 6'5", 270.
Yeah.
Rather big guy. So I'm sure that he, at least with effort, can get it done in the blocking game, as well as in the receiving game. But there's another guy I want to mention.
Okay.
That not everyone's a big fan of. But I think that he could do well in our tight end room, and that is Darren Fells from the Houston Texans. Darren Fells is a converted basketball player. He's 6'7", came on last year as a bona fide red zone threat with 7 touchdowns in the red zone, or 7 touchdowns. Already has 3 this year. He's definitely proven to have gained the confidence of his quarterback in moments where they're in the red zone. I think that's important. I don't know if he's skill wise the best tight end or the best blocker or anything like that, but he's a big body, another guy to throw to in the end zone who can win one-on-one battles in a 50-50 type scenario. He's got, they extended him last year, but it was only 2 years. So if you look at the economics of it, it definitely is a fit. I mean, if you think about, let me pull up his contract real quick here. All right, let me see here. So Mr. Fells, they gave him a $6.3 million extension, but the 3.1 for this is the year average. So half of that pretty much is what he's got left. And then he's got $2 million guaranteed salary in the coming year. So that's not impossible.
Right.
That's not impossible for us to overcome and make sure we can stand to the cap. So I think that's another fit that they could be looking to sell. I don't know how much it impacts the fact that they don't really have a front office right now.
Right.
It's kind of in shambles, so they might just wait till the season's over. But yeah, I think that could be another good one to kind of buoy up the tight end room.
Yeah, I like Fells. I think he, like you mentioned, he proved himself as a red zone threat. 7 touchdowns as a tight end. Kelsey didn't have 7 touchdowns last year. Kittle didn't have 7 touchdowns last year. So I think that if nothing else, he provides help there and depth there. But we don't really know. He doesn't get a ton of targets out in Houston. It could be because he doesn't deserve them through his play, but it also could just be that there's a lot of mouths to feed, and that's how it works out. They got a young guy, Akins, that they really like, and they want to get him the ball. So, Akins. I think it's certainly a possibility. Doesn't have the contract flexibility that Mo Alie-Cox has, who only has the remainder of this season, and then he's a free agent, and his contract, I believe, was only for about $680,000. So if you're only paying half of that, that's a pretty darn good bargain. But Fells, you're right, is the more proven of the two, and he's gigantic. I mean, ridiculously huge man. So he grades out pretty good in Pro Football Focus. I mean, he's not number 1 rated, which Mo Alley is. Literally the number 1 rated tight end in all of football is this guy, Mo Alie-Cox. So I think both are options. I'd like to see something happen at that room, because I think when they decide to expand the passing game and maybe lean more on the receivers, maybe if they could turn back time, they may kind of go a different direction than that. They may not also, but if you just look at the production compared to last season, it's not there. And the one big change, of course, Marshall was a pretty big change, him retiring, but also the fact that they're not playing that heavy 3 tight end offense that they played last year. So if they could get one of these 2 guys or some other guy that we're not aware of, they could get back to some of the stuff they did last season, and it might start to replicate some of that success that they had last season as well.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is as well to Fells is that based on the fact that he's a converted basketball player, he's definitely not a finished product yet, right? Like his football game, I think, is still expanding. I think a lot of what he's doing right now is just based off instincts, right? Like the repetitions mean so much more to him at this point. So I think at least as far as that goes, there is an upside there that might be untapped. As far as what he is now might not be what he can be in the future. So I think that's something to consider as far as upside later on. The other thing I'll mention,
any younger.
That's true. No, not getting any younger, but his football experience is young, right?
Right.
But this is my other question. We talked about at the very beginning, the Ravens kind of showed their hands based on the reports that they were going after Zach Ertz. Apparently Zach Ertz only going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, according to CBS. Now they've pushed the timeline back from 4 to 6 weeks. Still, we're talking about week 12, based on when he got, based on when he got hurt, 12, 13. Is it worth, do you think you just abandon ship on that immediately? Is it worth looking at that still before the trade deadline? Or is there not enough information for them to even say, we can't get our hands on him. We don't have medical. We don't really know. We're going to pass on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's, it's like you mentioned, there's just too many unknowns. We don't know the severity of that injury. We don't know if he's not, they're saying he's returning to practice in 4 to 6 weeks or to gameplay in 4 to 6 weeks. If he's not practicing, then how can he learn an entirely new offensive system, as well as build chemistry with the quarterback, which we know is important. So I think that they probably are out of the Ertz game. I think most teams would be, because even if you are able to trade for him, for one, Ertz is a Pro Bowl player, so it's not like you can give up a bag of balls for him. I'm assuming you're gonna have to give up a fourth, a third. Not a third, but maybe a fourth or a fifth round pick, or something like that. I wouldn't want to make that investment in a guy that by the time he's back to practice and starts learning the offense, I don't know how many games you're going to get him before the postseason starts. And then once the postseason starts, I guess anything can happen. And it would be nice to have a player like him on the postseason roster, but man, I don't know. I guess it depends on what they want, and then what the contract situation is. If I don't have his,
I think it would be a rental. I don't think they would be looking to re-up him next year. And that might be why, right.
Yeah. Big money.
That might be right. That might be why they're out of it, because I don't think it would be a long-term plan. But I will say this in the defense of the argument in favor of still pursuing him, even if he's injured all the way up to the playoffs. If you remember pivotal moments in that Super Bowl victory, everyone knew where the ball was going, right? It was going right to Zach Ertz, and he was making plays. So having a guy like that, not saying that he's a Hall of Famer like Anquan Boldin, but in the same ilk, right? Like, they can win their one-on-one matchups. They're physical. They go up and get the ball. They dominate their defenders. Having a guy like that, man, really does comfort you more than, if nothing less, it makes you feel good that when all else fails, you can still hit Zach Ertz for 9 yards. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It still is at least intriguing enough for me to spin it around in the old think tank for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's just because of his name and his past success. Yeah, it's intriguing, but I don't think we've seen that Zach Ertz this year. That guaranteed first down. Whatever reason, I don't know if it's all his fault or if it's partially someone Carson Wentz, and then the fact that their offensive line has been just decimated by injury. But yeah, I don't know if we're not seeing the same Zach Ertz that we even saw last season. Certainly from a production standpoint, but also just something seemed off, and it could have been the lingering injury that now he's being forced to IR because of. But I just think his money was insane, but I find it interesting that they were even. Obviously the money didn't bother the Ravens that much, because I think the reports are that if Zach Ertz doesn't get hurt, he's a Raven right now. So that's shocking when you look at what he has left on his deal. I don't know how they would be able to fit that under their cap, but I guess, look, we're not cap experts. That's their job to do it, but they obviously they weren't as concerned about his money as I thought they would be. So that surprised me. Now, it could have been this, Jimmy. It could have been a contract, a restructuring of the contract going forward, give him more years and cut down on the cap hit going in. So that could have been a possibility. It could have been something they already discussed.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. Or I wonder what they wanted in return. Maybe more than the injury, they also wanted a guy that you add an injury to the fact that they could have wanted a guy that is making an immediate impact for us right now, a Jimmy Smith or somebody else in the secondary. Because of Zach Ertz's name, it's going to garner, I'm sure, more than just picks. They need some help in the secondary. And maybe when Zach Ertz is healthy, you do think about something like a Jimmy Smith, or, he's on a 1-year deal. They could give him an extension later on for, along with a pick for Zach Ertz, something like that. But based on the fact that he's not, I don't know how much sense that makes. And once again, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but yeah, a lot of factors going into that. Gonna be really interesting what they do at the trade deadline. I'm gonna ask you this question here, Glenn, and we'll end it with this. Will they make a move? for a tight end before the trade deadline is up?
Oh man, man, that's a tough one. I don't think they will. I think they would. I think they used the resources they were going to use to go get Ertz, and they reallocated those to the defensive side and getting Unique Ngakoue. I would be thrilled if they went and got like a Mo Alie-Cox or a Darren Fells, because I think you can get them for very cheap and they could help. But I don't know. Something tells me that they are looking at Des Bryant, the signing of Des Bryant to the practice squad, as the help for the red zone and not looking for a tight end to do that. I mean, I don't know. I'm rooting for them to keep making moves just because it's fun and is exciting. But I don't want to see them go after anyone who's going to cost high draft capital or anything like that. I would like to see a second tier addition like a Fells or a Mo Alie-Cox.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it will happen either. I agree with you. I think that those resources did indeed go to Unique Ngakoue. But I'll tell you what, I agree with you there. It's fun to see who Eric DeCosta is going to fleece in the night, right? Like who's going to walk in. He's just surgical with it. And he's in and out before they even know what happened, and the guy's already signed and it's done. Like I tell you what, Eric DeCosta has to walk around the building with a coffee because that man is a closer. He gets it done, dude. Coffee is for closers.
He walks around with some swag. You already know. I mean, he's got to. He's
bald head and all, dude.
Yeah, I want to see him at those meetings, those league meetings, because then he's walking around all his contemporaries and his peers, and he's probably thinking, "Yeah, I got you over there, and I got you over there. So who's next?"
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think we have the best GM in the league, and I don't care what anyone says. I don't think it's close. So, yeah. Those are our thoughts. Give us your thoughts. Are we going to make a move? Glenn and I both say no, even though it would be fun to see. But as far as the tight end position goes, and then also, are we going to make any other moves at the trade deadline? Give us your thoughts. Leave us your comments. We'll be sure to interact with you guys in the comment section. And we will talk to you guys soon.
See you.